Once upon a time in Hollywood, a bunch of toothless kids in overalls stole America's heart. And then died in ways so bizarre, tragic, and wildly preventable, you'd think they were cursed. These weren't just cute kids in floppy hats. They were ticking time bombs of bad luck, working for peanuts while the studio raked in millions and possibly angered an ancient spirit that hates children. This isn't just a trip down memory lane. It's a haunted hayride through Hollywood's darkest sandbox. It's the curse of the Little Rascals, and it's today on Death in Entertainment.
Live from Los Angeles.
911, what is your emergency?
Here in Hollywood now.
2 counts of murder,
Injury and death.
Oh my God!
Shocking new details
that has stunned the entertainment world.
This makes me a little nervous.
The hair stood up on my arms.
Just like in the movies.
What do you call this thing anyway?
Death
In entertainment.
Greetings, Deado Universe.
Hi there.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Kyle Plouffe.
I'm Ben Kissel.
And I'm Alejandro Dowlane.
Thank you all so much for checking out this episode of Death and Entertainment. If you want to join our Patreon, go to patreon.com/diebud. Watch every episode live and contribute with your comments. Today's episode. Oh my God. You loved them when you were growing up. But what actually happened? It's the curse of the Little Rascals.
And this is a crazy one. So if you're at all triggered by very tragic child's deaths, this might not be the one for you, but stick around.
Stick around.
See if you're into it.
Yeah, it's
But
fun.
to clarify, we're not talking about the 1994 Little Rascals, are we?
No, I mean, not specifically.
That
Okay.
movie, that holds up.
It does hold up.
They
It's
do a
great.
soapbox derby, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Donald Trump is in it?
Is he really?
Yeah. He's one of the dads.
Is that right?
Yeah. Of the kid that is rich.
Yeah, the rich kid.
That's hilarious. By the way, son, my friend Jeffrey Epstein's coming over. Hide upstairs. Just go upstairs.
Okay. So to start telling this story, you have to start with the guy who created it all. Hal Roach. He was born January 14th, 1892, which I believe makes him the oldest guy we've ever talked about.
Wow. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm like, that guy must be pretty old. But I realized I'm born 1981. And when people hear that even now, they think I'm ancient.
Yeah. It's the night you're born in the 1900s.
What?
Yeah.
Did you guys have cars then?
Yeah, that's a great name, too. Hal Roach.
Hal Roach.
That was his given name?
Believe so.
Comes from a long line of roaches. They don't die.
They don't go anywhere.
No.
Yeah. He was born in Elmira, New York, which is one of the rare times we've been taken to New York State, not New York City. As a young boy in Elmira, Hal had a paper route, and one of his customers would end up becoming one of his life's heroes. This was a man by the name of Samuel Clements, who, if you were paying any attention a couple episodes ago, you would know better as Mark freaking Twain.
That's amazing.
Wow.
In his lifetime, he knew Mark Twain. Like, I thought Mark Twain was, way older than that.
Right. Yeah, I just found out that Picasso was alive in, the 70s.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pablo.
Wow. Well, Mark Twain lived in Elmira for a while and even wrote The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn there. In fact, he and his wife are actually currently buried there.
No kidding.
Yeah, for now.
For now.
What do you mean for now?
Until they dig him up?
Yeah, and throw him somewhere else.
Okay. Why not?
Hal would deliver Twain's newspapers, but it wasn't until he saw Mark Twain perform live that he wanted to be an American humorist as well.
Until he saw his stand-up set.
So he saw Val Kilmer doing it.
At the Chuckle Hut?
Yeah.
That guy's got something.
He does. Hal said that he had attended and been kicked out of every school in Elmira. As we know, people with comedic sensibilities or people who go into the arts rarely are straight A students.
Absolutely.
Right. Especially the funny ones, because they're always making jokes in classes, and teachers tend to get annoyed of that.
Yeah.
Unless, they're one of those cool teachers that finds you funny.
Right.
Yeah, Mrs. Killsdonk, she was the one that found me funny. She was the only reason I graduated high school. And it's crazy because the larger the laugh from your friends, the more in trouble you get. And you're like, these are mixed messages.
Yes. Big time.
Yeah.
At 16 years old, he faced his last expulsion from school, and his father said he needed to grow up. So he suggested to him that traveling might help.
It's totally different than now.
I know. 16 years old. He's like, hey, yeah, you know what would help you? Getting the fuck out of my house.
Well, in a sense, getting expelled, that's growing up.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to school anymore.
True.
So you mean I graduated? Kind of. I mean, you're not coming to school anymore.
Right. Hal thought going the furthest away from Elmira would be the best bet for him. So he chose Alaska, of all places.
That'll do it.
When he got there, he went full Yukon revenant and decided to be a gold prospector and a mule skinner.
Wow. So it was a full-time job, just being a mule skinner?
And yeah, just going and breaking open those hills trying to find the gold.
Hey, how was your day today? Just skinned some mules,
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at that and you see a wild beast with 4 legs. I see nothing but money.
He dug and he dug, but he never found any gold.
Oh.
And he didn't really like skinning mules. I don't know who would.
I hope that they don't.
A sociopath.
Well, you're talking to 2 guys from Wisconsin. I
Yeah.
think we know a lot of people that like skinning things.
That is true. Hunting season, you open up the shed and it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you're like, that's disgusting. But then 2 weeks later, you're eating deer jerky, and you're like, this is fantastic.
Wow. That is so not what happened in Boston.
Yeah, no murders. No one dies in Boston. Nothing at all.
No, but we don't kill.
You just have a bunch of Italians hanging upside down.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to say, too, at that time in the 1800s, although I guess would this be more like the early 1900s?
Early 1900s, yeah.
Okay, gold mining was more of a thing.
Yes, being a 49er.
It didn't sound so outrageous that, like, now if you say that, they would commit you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or they'd think you found some 900 number on the TV.
There's gold in them hills.
What is with all those commercials? They still air them.
Oh, those are such scams.
You know, like
cash for gold.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's on almost every podcast and YouTube video.
Yeah, because they give you way less cash than it's worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, glad we cleared that up.
Most of the gold is fillings and just things that your grandma finds around the house.
Thanks for
and
the
they're
tooth.
like, Grandma, this is a dust bunny. It's not gold, and you can't get any cash for it.
You're just staring at your grandma all day, seeing that tooth in her mouth.
Just shining. So since his experience was primarily delivering newspapers before he took off for Alaska, he began delivering mail on horseback.
Pony Express.
Yeah. He got stuck in a blizzard one day, though, and nearly lost his foot to frostbite, so he decided he wanted a break.
His
Yeah.
foot. What about the horses?
Horse is strong.
He was like, where can I go defrost my foot? Sunny Southern California.
Yeah.
Wow, from Elmira to Alaska to California.
Yep, Los Angeles.
And, you know, he was a paper boy, but he was delivering to Mark Twain.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Citizen Twain himself. Mm-hmm. While he was in L.A., he's just there, going up and down Hollywood Boulevard, airing out his foot. And he randomly met some guys that worked in the film industry, and the guys were asking him if he was an actor.
Ah.
So he must be a good-looking fella.
Yeah, he was actually.
Okay.
He
We
said,
got a warehouse in Simi Valley.
yeah, we're going to need that ass.
And yeah, you got any lube?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on black couches?
Do you like gay sex?
I'll do it.
I do enjoy it. He actually...
I mean, it's better than mule skinning.
Right. Well, to some. He said actually he's just visiting and that he really delivers mail on horseback. And they were like, whoa. You can ride a horse? You got yourself a job.
Wow.
So he became a background actor in a bunch of all the Westerns that they were doing out here, which was like a super popular genre.
Once upon a time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So it was 1912 at this point. And-
That's pretty much all they were making, Westerns and more Westerns.
yeah.
Right.
I think this was even pre-noir.
Right. Yeah. And within 5 years, he had created Hal Roach Studios. So he goes from background actor to having his own studio in Culver City. Wow. Producing over 2,000 comedy shorts, including the topic of our show today, the Our Gang series, which would come to be known as the Little Rascals.
Now, was that changed for syndication? Was it Our Gang for a while?
It was Our Gang for most of the time. And then in the 50s, when they brought it back to TV from film,
yes.
claimed it was the Little Rascals.
Yeah, that's cool. It was always in the theater you would see these shorts.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, they were
see.
films.
Cinematic.
Yep.
I think Little Rascals, it rolls off the tongue. It's got a more catch to it.
Yeah.
The
Good
thing
choice.
is, Our Gang is also very strong because it implies ownership.
Right, but it's too strong for what
strong.
the kids are. They're rascals. Yeah, you little rapscallions. You guys
Yeah,
are getting into
but-
trouble.
Little Rascals.
But gang meant something else then. It was like, a group.
Our gang.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think our gang is more like the Outsiders, a little older. Got
Okay.
switchblades, you're knocking people up.
Yeah.
I mean, Little Rascals are strong, don't get me wrong.
Roach was famous for keeping it loose on set and not caring if things went over budget, and which ended up meaning he got less profit. He wasn't really worried about it. He was a true blue-collar guy who wanted to keep things fun. Maybe a little too fun.
Oh, boy.
This carefree disposition may have contributed to the curse of the Little Rascals.
Just so I can be prepared. Is he Lou Pearlman?
No.
Okay, great. So that's that. When you said too fun, I was like, oh man,
Yeah, that's not...
When
yeah,
producers have too much fun, usually there's too much crying.
No, I think he was a pretty decent guy, am I
Yes.
right?
Okay.
And
For
he
the most
promote-
part.
Oh, for the most, really?
He had
You got some skeletons dug up?
He's
or
got
what?
some things that weren't very nice.
He's a human being.
Yeah.
Blackface was normalized at the time, okay?
Yes.
Get over it.
Hey.
Wow.
Wow.
Old.
Alejandro coming in hot.
It's also normalized in 2016 when Jimmy Kimmel was doing it.
Oh, and
Karl
Jimmy
Malone
Fallon. Jimmy Fallon, too.
Yeah.
Every Jimmy was doing it.
Whoa.
No.
And that's another slur, too, for...
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, Jim Crow was like the slur for them, and then they would call black people Jimmies. And
Oh, no kidding.
Oh,
yeah, it's
wow.
all-
Accidental
what?
racist.
Yeah.
Jimmy cracked corn, and I don't care.
Jeez.
And that's the episode of Accidental Racist.
We're learning, though. We're always learning.
We are. If you're not familiar with the Little Rascals, they were essentially a group of poor children who were all neighborhood kids getting into funny situations and often butted heads with the rich kids and their parents. Mm-hmm. It was the first show of its kind to show black and white children playing together and getting along. And this was during the Jim Crow era.
See, that's what I'm saying about Hal Roach. That was a very good thing.
Yes.
That he was promoting that.
Yeah, in that way, it was absolutely groundbreaking, despite the fact the films all featured a lot of harmful stereotypes
Yeah.
and slurs. Even though all the films seemed like they were fun-loving, carefree set experiences, we would come to find out that because of the stage moms and grandmothers, racial tensions would become very real on set.
Oh, God. The first momagers.
Yeah.
Awful.
Although the kids loved each other, there was still an air of like stay in your own lane and be with your own kind type of mentality coming from the older generations on set. So, with that said, let's get into the drama.
Yes.
Robert McGowan was the original director of the series, and he ended up being forced to retire from the series after needing to take multiple medically mandated sabbaticals due to the overbearing stress of dealing with stage mothers and child actors.
They went so he had to deal with so many air quotes Karens that he went into a medical crisis.
Yes.
Wow.
Doctors were like, you have to take breaks. So he would go and record a bunch of different ones, and then they would be like, okay, take a month off, and then see if you can come back. And he did it a few times, and then they were like, just, you got to stop because your heart's going to explode.
I can't even look at a woman's hair without freaking out.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that must have been terrifying because this is years before the Jackie Coogan law, which protected kids.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. So the kids were being probably overworked.
Yeah.
As well. Okay.
Yeah.
They were money bags with teeth.
Got you.
Robert became very ill and would die of cancer in 1955.
Yeah, turns out you've been diagnosed with bitch cancer. Have you been around a lot of bitches lately?
There was a huge feud between Alfalfa and Spanky, the actors that played both of them.
Okay. I mean, it's adorable. That's the thing. Alfalfa and Spanky fighting just sounds awesome.
They were fighting over who was the most popular rascal. But that was not started by them. It was started by each other's fathers. So the fathers hated each other, and they would be on set being like, my kid's more popular than your kid.
It's a different style of humor. Alfalfa, he's bringing some sharp wit. He's more like a Freddy Krueger. And
Freddy Krueger?
Yeah, well, kind of sharp-witted.
Yeah.
And then Spanky, he's your Chris Farley type. He's
Yeah.
like, he's goofy, a little chubby.
Yeah.
Different types.
I would say Spanky was the most popular, though.
Well, when I think of it, I think Spanky, but also Alfalfa. I mean, the hair.
Yeah,
You've been
the
hearing
hair.
about Alfalfa. They are really the two stars. though.
Right.
One day during a break on set, Spanky's dad was walking through to a trailer, and Alfalfa lit a firecracker and threw it at Spanky's dad, and it exploded on the back of his neck.
I love
Oh,
it.
boy.
These are the Little Rascals, both on and off screen.
Yeah, this sounds very entertaining
I love it.
behind the scenes.
There were cameramen who would get mad at the kids for flubbing lines and, making them work longer, making them miss lunch, or just have them be late going home.
Hey, Spanky, your mark's over there.
So, yeah, they would be like, hey, can you guys get it together and fucking get your lines right?
I mean, they're 8 years old?
If that.
Yeah, they were pretty small in the original shorts.
Alfalfa, Carl Switzer, who played him, would stick gum in the cameras of cameramen who were jerks to the kids.
I love Alfalfa.
And he would piss on lights to make it smell bad to fuck with the crew if they were mean to them.
Piss on lights to piss off the crew.
Yes.
That is my boy.
So it would just stink every time they turned the lights on. The piss would just start
I could
crackling.
smell it already.
Smells like old Hollywood.
Is that kid's piss?
Oh, boy.
So like I said before, some white parents and grandparents didn't want the kids to be near the black kids during breaks and filming. In 1930, the animals used for Roach's films were all housed at the Arnez Ranch, which was owned by Hal, but run by this Italian immigrant, Tony Campanero. All the animals that were housed there were used for Roach's films, except for one. There was this puppy called Pete the Pup. And he's the one that had the ring around his eye.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Tell me they treated him okay.
On set, he was treated so well. He's a beautiful dog with the ring around his eye, owned by a man named Harry Lucine. But we go back to Tony, and Tony is running that ranch. It's all his animals that are on the ranch. And he's, all pissed off that Pete the Pup is getting all the attention. He's like, hey, I got some mules over here.
So he's jealous?
He's so jealous.
Well, don't give the guy mules. He's going to skin him.
And Pete, he was really one of the stars right next to Spanky and Alfalfa.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I could see the jealousy.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Target, the old superstore, they used that?
They definitely ripped that off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so many things after that, like Frasier and The Mask.
Absolutely.
So it's been said that Tony was so jealous of Roach's use of the dog over Tony's animals that he poisoned Pete the Pup and killed him in 1930.
Well, Tony, buddy, because of that, we have Doug the Pug.
Yeah.
He would have hated modern era.
Oh, big time, yeah.
Wow.
To this day, no one was ever charged or convicted, but everyone in the business knew it was Tony.
Wow.
What an asshole.
What a scumbag. So the dog died of poisoning?
That was the first official Little Rascals death.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
In 1930.
Yes.
That long ago. Wow.
Just awful. That's the worst thing we're going to talk about today.
That poor dog had to miss World War II.
Yeah.
He would have been, well, he probably would have been dead anyway. Who knows? He would have sided with the Nazis.
Yeah, Hitler kills him.
Yeah. He's just
Get
called.
that dog!
Yeah. He's called up because he's a communist. Got to go talk in front of the Senate.
Bark, bark.
You heard him, folks. He wants to spread the wealth around. Bark, bark.
In 1931, Norman Chubby Cheney, he was the chubby one, if you didn't know.
Okay. Got it.
And
they weren't very subtle with the nicknames, were they?
They were real men back then.
He was given the boot for getting too old, this is something we see in children's acting all the time.
Yes, and that is why they tend to age so. Yeah, no, they do. Child actors age strangely because in order to be a child actor and look young for a long time, it's kind of a character trait that's a little odd.
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like Gary Coleman.
Well, that, and then look at JT, Home Improvement, Tool Time?
Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I mean, I'm not going to, he's just a dude.
I haven't seen him recently, have you?
I'll show you.
Oh, boy. I'm afraid.
No, don't be.
Boy, the kids on that show aren't doing too well.
No, Zachary Ty Bryan is getting arrested for DUIs all the time.
All the time?
All the time. He just got
Really?
arrested again like 3 times in the last 6 months, I think.
Yeah, he's been on the cop dash cam shows more than the cops have.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I put this on my IMDb?
And real quickly, Home Improvement came on Netflix the other week, and I was with Kyle, and Kyle told me that as a kid he thought it was funnier than Seinfeld.
Yeah, Seinfeld wasn't funny to me when I was a kid.
Just wanted to say that.
It was adult situations.
And I have said this to Kyle, you guys are both wrong. The show that is the funniest is Tool Time. The show within Home Improvement.
The show within the show.
Yeah,
It's
I would
great.
rather watch Tool Time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I did like the wife.
You could have seen Tool Time if you watched Home Improvement.
Oh my God. Okay, Ben's showing me a picture of JTT now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this boy used to be on every girl's wall.
Oh
and
my-
again, he's just a dude.
Yeah,
But
he's-
they age.
Are you sure about that?
He's not the heartthrob he once was.
Yes,
Based on that photo.
That's all.
Doesn't even look human.
Jeez.
Back to the Rascals.
Okay.
So Chubby Cheney, he was originally hired because they essentially just wanted to cast a fat kid.
Yeah, no relation to Dick?
No. Chubby Dick.
They're both fat fucking assholes. Oh, maybe Chubby's a good kid.
Poor kid. He was 3'11" and 115 pounds. Ooh. He was a big boy.
Yeah.
Over the course of the show, his years on it, he grew from 3'11" to 4'7". When he was at 4'7", he weighed over 300 pounds.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he got lean with his height.
No, unfortunately not.
4'7", 300 pounds?
Yeah, he had a glandular disease that caused his condition, so it really was like a medically...
He wasn't eating donuts?
It was a medical condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my lordy.
That's sad.
And just a few years after that, he succumbed to an enlarged heart and died at the age of 18.
Oh, my God.
All right. Well, at least he got to be in the pictures.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
That sucks, though.
Horrible.
4'11" and man, 300 pounds. He couldn't walk. I don't think he could walk.
Right.
They probably had to roll him into the doctor's office.
Yes, Willy Wonka. He ate the wrong food.
Bring this kid to the juicer.
Yes.
Between him and JTT, I'm getting depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never want to go to the producer that's known as the juicer.
Yeah.
So, all I'm
Go
gonna say.
see the juicer.
No! Do you want a career or not?
Time to get juiced.
Yuck.
Oh, boy. We got Billy Froggy Laughlin. Froggy, he's got the...
Yeah.
That was a thing later on, too, in like the 60s, a singer like Clarence Frogman.
Frogman Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting. They've all come out against vaccines. Something about that voice.
This poor kid, he, like I said, one with the raspy voice, he actually based his voice off of a Popeye impression he would do for kids at school.
So that was him stretching his vocal cords.
Olive oil.
That wasn't his real voice.
No, that wasn't his voice.
See, that's talent.
That is
Yeah.
A kid to be able to change the voice like that. Because JTT in the Lion King Home Improvement sounds like the same kid.
Right.
I'm shitting on JTT. I'm sorry. But this frog, he's got talent.
Froggy's got it.
He's got talent.
4 years after he leaves the Rascals, he's 16 years old and he's delivering newspapers just like Hal Roach used to do.
Yeah.
He's delivering them with his buddy. And Froggy's on the back of the scooter and his friend John is driving the scooter.
It sounds like I guess the word romanticizing is what I'm doing, although they're children and I'm not doing it in a sexual way. But it sounds so like everyday USA, like,
yeah.
Ding, here's your paper, Mrs. Robinson.
Absolutely.
I don't like where this ride is going.
Froggy had just gotten this scooter 2 weeks before for his birthday. And so they're going down the street, they're throwing the newspapers like the kids do. And they realize, oh shit, we just missed a house. So he's like, hey, bang a U-turn real quick. So they turned immediately and they didn't realize there was a truck speeding right there.
Yikes.
And the truck crushed both of them.
Oh, what? Both of them?
Yeah, they were both on the same scooter.
Yeah.
Was the game Frogger based on this?
It possibly could have. Oh, boy.
Yeah, you want to avoid the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, that one guy would have been like, guys, I don't need the paper today anyway.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Off the, whatever. I don't care about anything. Pearl Harbor's not for a second.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, what a difference too. Roach got to deliver to an American icon, and Frogger gets smushed by a semi.
Yeah. Billy Froggy Laughlin died instantly, yet somehow his friend John survived with only minor injuries.
Okay.
So he must have like gone under and not been hit by a tire or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
The only side effect is he's shaped like a pancake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up, we got Bobby Weezer Hitchens.
Okay, we got the wheeze.
We got the wheeze. They called him Weezer from his first day on set. He was running around. He started to wheeze.
So he's asthmatic.
Yeah.
Man, I love it back in the day. Now they'd be like, oh, wow, we need a doctor. And they're like, he's wheezing. We're going to call him Wheezy.
Yeah.
And now that would be offensive
Yeah.
to people who cough.
That's my biggest pet peeve. He couldn't make that anymore. Couldn't make that anymore.
I know.
It's like,
I
don't know.
Okay.
Everything is still being
what?
made. It's just not
Yeah.
what it used to
I'm going to make it.
be. Yeah, why not?
I'm going to make it. Well, Weezer is a band.
It's true. And
Yeah.
one of the wives almost just got killed.
Yeah.
Really?
By an officer. Anyway, that's a whole.
What?
We
That's
talked
a
about
whole-
it on okay.
That's a whole different
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Okay, bud.
Sorry.
He ended up being able to catch his breath and finally joined the U.S. Army Air Corps after he served his time with the Rascals.
That's ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Exactly. I want to go to the military branch that has the thing I don't.
Yeah, like if Froggy joined the Frog Brigade or something.
The Frogmen. I think there is.
Oh, yeah.
the Marines.
Frogmen. There you go. You fixed my joke.
There you go.
No problem.
The week he was due to graduate flight school and become an actual pilot, he was flying during a routine exercise and collided with another plane,
Oh my God.
killing him 3 days shy of his 20th birthday.
I mean,
These guys are just little rascals.
yeah, I mean, somehow I've survived all these years without jumping in front of a truck or flying into a plane.
Well, yeah, you don't do anything. You just sit and watch Netflix, which is great.
Well, you know what's crazy about this story? The other pilot survived the crash.
Just like the
one right
friend.
before. Yes.
Oh,
This is Final Destination level, dude.
It's insane.
How does that pilot survive in mid-air collision?
How did he? Did he jump out like with a parachute?
They said his plane wasn't as destroyed as the other one somehow.
So he
I don't
was
know.
able to land.
So he was able to
after-
land.
Okay. It wasn't like a head-on collision.
Yeah, I think the wings clipped each other.
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
Yikes.
guess he wasn't ready for war.
Well, he went to World War II. He did
He
serve.
survived World War II?
He survived World War II to die in 1945.
Oh, the guy that didn't die in the thing.
No, both of them.
No,
Wheezy did survive.
Yeah, he
No.
He died in 1945, so he served in World War II.
Wheezy? Or
Weezer.
Weezer. Weezer survived World War II only to die in another plane crash.
Gotcha.
That's like those people that survived 9/11 and then went to see Great White at the station or something.
Yeah, seriously.
Just my luck. This place is on fire, too.
Yeah.
I'm finally ready to come out for a good rock and roll time.
You know what? Maybe it was my time.
That's Final Destination shit, though.
For real, it is. So that brings us to Carl Alfalfa Switzer.
Ooh, this is the main course, right?
This is a decent chunk of the episode here.
Because I know a little bit about this, but man, because you always think like Alfalfa, that was the goofy character.
Yeah.
And in real life, like this guy was.
He was throwing firebombs at people and pissing on the lights.
Like he was a bad seed.
Well, but
But he was doing it for a good reason.
Okay.
He was a goofy character, but technically all the goofiness was serious crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Carl was born in Paris, Illinois.
Police.
Sounds pretty nice.
So close to being somewhere good.
If Chicago doesn't come before the word Illinois, it sucks.
Yeah.
I lived in Wheaton, Illinois for a little while. Nice little suburb. But no, I think you're mostly correct.
Yeah.
He was born on August 8th, 1927. When he was visiting Los Angeles, his family thought that they would try their luck bringing he and his brother over to the Hal Roach Studios to audition for the Little Rascals.
Put these kids to work.
And they didn't realize that you needed to have like an actual parking pass and show up for like an actual audition. They were just like, let's just go to the studio and see what happens.
I love it.
I had family members being like, I used to email Ellen DeGeneres' show to see if they can get you on. I was like, that's not how that works, but thank you.
I love it.
Yeah, well, I think they sort of did it like that back in the day. Like you could, like the Poltergeist girl, Heather O'Rourke.
Yeah.
She was just having lunch and gets discovered.
Yeah, you never know.
Right.
You never know.
So undeterred, they still were like, oh, you can buy a pass and go walk around the studios on a tour.
And they did this undeterred.
Undeterred.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they were just kind of living under a bunch of shit, or
Yes.
I'm a
Undeterred. I like it. Yeah.
I am a child.
Took me a second.
I'm a little rascal.
I caught up, you little rascal.
I'm a big fucking rascal.
And I like how they say you don't need a headshot, resume. You need a parking pass.
Yes. So they paid for the studio tour, and by the time they get shown the cafeteria, that's when Carl and his brother realize they have the spotlight.
I love it.
And they run into the cafeteria and just start singing and dancing.
That's what I'm saying. It all happens in the cafeteria.
You know who just happens to be there having lunch at the time? Hal Roach.
Love it.
And he signs them there on the spot.
Also, that is a perfect time because he's eating, he's happy.
Yeah.
Everyone they say if you audition just before lunch, you have a much worse chance of getting cast.
Right.
Versus post lunch.
That's true.
Because everyone's full.
Yeah.
I tried that once at Paramount and they just kicked me out.
I'll just start singing around any food court.
No business like show business.
You'll be swell.
All right, welcome to One Potato, Two Potato.
Would you shut up? We're trying to finish our rap.
So Alfalfa joins the show, instantly becomes a hit. One of the top two characters, like we said, Spanky and Alfalfa.
Mm-hmm.
Did they replace Petey?
Yes.
Because
They
I was
did.
noticing if he died in 1930 and Alfalfa was born in 1927,
Yeah.
they didn't overlap then. On the
No.
Yeah.
No, it's a different Petey then.
Petey the dog.
There was a bunch of Petey's. Well, there's just like, there's a bunch of Airbuds too. You don't really think about it, but then you find out it's like 27 different
Shut
dogs.
up.
Oh, yeah, they've
You
killed.
mean it was Airbud Golden Receiver was not the same one
No.
No,
from
no.
the first Airbud?
You don't want to know what happens to the earbuds when they're no longer needed.
they just get thrown into this cage.
Oh, it's
They get
horrible.
shot out of a cannon.
Yeah. No, we'll uncover an Airbud tomb one day, and it's going to be devastating.
But it was worth it.
Yeah.
For all the good times.
Great movies.
All the great to straight to VHS.
All the great puns
Yeah.
with the titles.
He appeared in 61 of the film's series.
Wow.
Is that the most?
It's up there.
Yeah.
We've talked about this in episodes for Bobby Driscoll and other child stars. At a time where there were absolutely no residuals, it was extremely difficult to make a living after that amount of fame washes away.
Yeah. And, you grow up.
Yeah.
Right.
So after he's done pissing on all the lights and sticking gum in cameras,
Being a cool kid.
yeah, he's throwing firecrackers at people. He's
He's my friend.
He's
Like,
a-
literally, me and my friend used to do this basically the exact same stuff.
Yeah. Time's up on set. You're too old now, and they're like, we got to move on. So he ended up getting a few bit parts, one being in It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed.
Which was not a hit originally.
It wasn't?
No.
I didn't realize that.
It came and went without much fanfare. And then many years later, it started to get played on TV.
On Christmas.
And that's
everyone-
when it had high viewership. Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's where it became a classic.
No
So
kidding.
Alfalfa didn't even see any of that.
Wow.
Sort of like The Big Lebowski.
Exactly.
Not a hit, but now a massive one.
Right.
And it's weird because he's a good-looking guy. As he got older, he wasn't like pimply and weird and awkward like the other kids were. But nobody would put him in an actual role, even though he had all this experience.
He's a child actor.
Yes,
Right?
but also the studios whispered saying like they would have hired him, but he had a reputation that preceded him of being a troublemaker and always wanted to get back at people
We
for
can still
perceived
s-
slights.
We can still smell those lights.
Yeah,
Yeah. Biscuit. Well, he's method.
Yeah.
He's method.
yeah. But that was before method was actually respected, I guess.
Oh, yeah, he was a good looking guy.
Yeah, he was a very good-looking guy. Like
Okay.
he could have been a leading man, but it was just
Let me see.
the risk that the studios didn't want to take of him going off the deep end.
Kind of looks like a Kennedy.
Yeah, he looks like a crooner.
He does.
He's got that Dean Martin hair.
Yeah.
He also kind of looks like he could kill. He kind of looks like a sniper. You know.
Yeah. So, like all good child actors, he took to the bottle and became increasingly frustrated where he was at in life. He took whatever tiny roles he could muster up and then bartended around the city, as well as he became a dog trainer and hunting guide on trips up in Northern California.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
He would bring guys like Roy Rogers, Dale Evans, Jimmy Stewart, and Henry Fonda up to Northern California and give them guided hunting expeditions.
Shut up. Like he took the rich and famous up there?
And none of them were like dying to get him in movies either. Just like, thanks for the good time. See you later.
I mean, he was working.
Yeah, he was barely making ends meet with it, though.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Boy, yeah. The dog days.
In early 1954, Switzer went on a blind date with Diantha Collingwood.
Diantha?
Diantha.
Oh, my.
How many times do you think she had to repeat her first name?
It's Diantha.
Diantha. My dad had a lisp. It was supposed to be Diana, but it's Diantha.
She was the daughter of Lilo and Faye Collingwood and an heiress to the grain elevator empire, Collingwood Grain.
All right.
So, like those big corn silos, they created that.
That's them.
That's them.
Hell yeah. That's some money right there.
Yeah. Collingwood had moved with her mother and sister to California in 1953 because her sister wanted to become an actress, and Switzer and Collingwood got along very well, and within 3 months, took a drive over to Las Vegas and got married.
Oh, I love that.
And the Little Rascals, as they are called now, is probably playing on TV all the time.
Oh, wow. So
It's just starting to, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. It's almost Black Mirror-esque. So he's struggling financially, and he's watching himself as a child on TV.
Yeah.
Not getting any residuals. That must be a little difficult to handle.
Yeah, he started getting desperate. He was running out of money, but his mother-in-law was just like, hey, if you guys leave Los Angeles, you can take our farm in Pretty Prairie, Kansas.
Go do it, baby. Pretty Prairie, Kansas. Which
sounds great.
Yeah.
It's flat.
Well,
very.
Yeah, but they have a fortune.
Yeah.
You're taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, and if he waits a little longer, he'll be able to do conventions. Mm-hmm. He'll be able to go to Comic-Con.
I mean, he's got to wait 60 more years, but yeah.
Yeah. Their son, Justin, was born that year. They divorced in 1957, and Diantha left him to marry this guy, Richard Roswell Eldridge, who adopted and raised Justin as his own.
Who would have thought a Las Vegas marriage wouldn't last? That is how I'm going to get married, though, in Las Vegas. Whoever is the lucky lady out there, get ready for a Vegas wedding.
Just don't go there with Andy Dick.
I'm not going to go anywhere with Andy Dick.
And do not marry Andy Dick.
No, I'm good.
So they took the kid away, too.
Yes.
He's all alone.
So Diantha and Richard, neither of them ever told their son who his real father was.
Okay, Diantha is diabolical.
Yeah.
Diabolical.
Yeah. Diabolical? That's too bad.
Super sad.
Yeah.
So he's depressed. He's getting drunk. He's getting into fights. He's, obviously miserable.
Is he in Kansas during this?
No, he's not in Kansas anymore.
He went back to L.A.?
He comes back to Studio City.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Nothing bad could happen there.
No, on January 26, 1958, he was getting into his car in front of a bar in Studio City when a bullet went through the windshield and struck him in the arm. He survived. However, the gunman was never identified or caught.
Now, was this an intentional shooting towards him or just crossfire? Or
it was probably intentional towards him. He was getting into a lot of fights and getting really mouthy.
Gotcha.
Okay. So it wasn't a surprise that he had people wanting to hurt him.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That December of 1958, Switzer was arrested in the Sequoia National Forest for cutting down 15 pine trees he was going to sell illegally as Christmas trees.
I mean, it's a little rascal crime. That is such a rascal crime. Look at the forest, boys. We're rich.
And he had his friend Fatty with him.
Yeah.
Oh, come on,
man.
And he's an entrepreneur. That's the really tough part. Like
he forgot to get his business license.
Right, yeah. He's not really an entrepreneur.
But he's a go-getter. Like, he's taking like Laurence Olivier up to the mountains with the dog and cutting down trees to sell. Like, he's not just sitting on his ass.
Go-getter is one way to... Desperate.
I think desperate,
Yes, but there's desperate with a plan. Or there's just desperate.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if he had a plan.
Well, if you cut down
I
50
think he
had an axe.
I think it was impromptu because, again, he didn't get any of the licenses or anything.
Yeah.
He may have had an axe to grind. But
He did.
He was sentenced to 1 year probation, and he was ordered to pay a $225 fine, which is more than $2,500 today.
He was ordered to be Santa Claus at the mall.
Yeah, the mean one.
He would have loved the job.
I know, that sounds like a movie premise right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In 1959, Switzer agreed to train a hunting dog for this guy, Moses Samuel Bud Stilts. We'll just call him Stilts.
Yeah, I love it. Stilts. Great. Love it.
Stilts was Switzer's longtime friend and on again, off again business partner. I don't know if they were cutting trees down together or what.
Well, I mean, if you're going to cut down trees with anybody, you want to do it with Stilts.
Yeah, get up there.
Absolutely.
Switzer and Stilts.
Yep.
Oh, I love that band.
They met while working together on productions with Roy Rogers.
Roy is all over this
I
story.
don't get it. Why isn't Roy Rogers helping him?
He doesn't know. You can't just help. Like, in Uber, when you get picked up by an Uber driver, they're actors.
Right.
You can't just go around and be like, oh, you needed a job. Here's your job.
Right.
No, but come on. It's so different. Roy Rogers is, doing the dog stuff with him. And then also doing stuff on set. Like
the expeditions.
I don't. But I think, again, his reputation was probably all bad. I think people wanted him where he was.
Yeah, well, his punishment was being in that Snow White Oscars number. Roy Rogers was one of the elders in it.
Oh,
was
God.
he really?
Yeah.
Check out that episode, by the way. Fantastic.
So the dog, while Switzer took him out into the woods, ran away to chase a beer.
A beer?
A beer?
A Budweiser.
What you got on your mind?
A bear.
A bear. A drunk bear that drank beer.
Yes. So it saw a bear and just took off and disappeared.
Oh my God. Dumb dog. Dumb dog.
And Stilts was like, hey, I see that you're back from the expedition. Where's my fucking dog? And he was like, oh, it got lost.
He's getting hammered in the woods with this bear. You don't want to see him.
And he was pissed because he thought the bear ate his dog. So he's like, all right, you're going to pay me for my dog, which is $50.
Okay.
And that's a lot of money back then.
It is.
It's a lot of money now.
So yeah, if $250 was $2,500, what are we looking at? I mean, I can't do math, but $1,000 or something?
Yeah. Switzer was working as a bartender at that point, and he was unable to make with the cash. So he took out ads in the newspaper, which I think would be expensive too.
Right.
But it must have been cheap enough for him to put out the ads in the newspapers, put up flyers, and he also offered a reward for the safe return of the dog.
This is an episode, again, it's of the Little Rascals.
Yeah.
Missing dog.
Right. Next, he's going to sell lemonade.
That's not lemonade. Yeah, it's piss.
Tangy.
No.
The thing is, I think ads were affordable back then because everyone was doing it. It's how you, in a sense, communicated
Right.
Sure.
before the internet.
Yeah, just bulletin board stuff.
Eventually, the dog was found, and it was brought to the bar where Carl Switzer, Alfalfa, was working.
Wait,
There you go.
The dog that chased the bear?
Yes.
Showed back up?
Yeah.
And it wanted
Wow.
another beer, so it went to the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like, you should see the bear. Hello.
Fully milked and tired and sleeping. I haven't come that hard in years. Thanks, dog.
So Switzer rewarded the rescuer with $35 in cash and $15 in a bar tab.
So that's his $50 that
Yeah.
he
I
paid the
love
guy.
it.
Now he gets it back.
That's equivalent to $540.
Okay, $540. Great.
Wait, did Stilts give him the cash back?
No.
What? Don't you think that should,
Yeah, so Switzer was annoyed by having to pay out the reward because that's what they came to. He didn't actually pay him the $50. He paid the guy, the rescuer.
I mean, none of
got
this
it.
seems like that serious, but
Yeah.
I guess it is serious.
Well, I mean, $540, that's enough to piss somebody off, I would guess.
That's true. That's true.
A few days later, and he had a very emotional conversation with his friend, this guy, Jack Piot. And he was a 37-year-old still photographer. And the two just like riled each other up. And he's like, yeah, man, you should get that fucking money back from Stilts. He should be the one to pay for that.
He should be.
I agree.
So their argument was that they were going to go show up to this guy's house and say, hey, you pay him back now or there's going to be trouble.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, the OJ method.
that's give me my stuff back.
So this guy, Jack and Carl Switzer, they both went to Stilts' home in Mission Hills, and they demanded the money.
They went on a mission.
Yes, in the hills. Yeah, there are differing accounts of the events, but pretty much they all agree that Stilts was struck over the side of his head with one of his glass clocks.
Wait, what?
A glass clock.
Why is this a cartoon? What is happening?
It is.
I've never heard of a glass clock before.
It's another episode of Little Rascals.
You just clocked me with my clock.
All right.
With a glass cock? No, a glass clock.
Clock.
By Diantha.
Oh, my Lord.
So this guy Stilts.
That was all over the paper, too. It said, Stilts got clocked.
Yeah.
He got clocked.
So they cave one of his eyes in,
Oh, my God.
and he runs to his room to grab his .38, and Switzer tries to wrestle the gun away from him. His account was that the gun goes off, it missed both of them, but it went right next to Stilts' stepson, 14 years
Oh,
old.
he was there?
Yes, the whole family's there.
Oh, my God.
The whole Stilts family.
So
Like
it goes
we're just trying to eat our TV dinners here in peace.
furious. Stilts was able to kick Switzer off and then shoots him.
He uses the stepson as a shield.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what? You said something serious.
Yes, Switzer got shot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's like, you almost killed my fucking kid. I'm going to kill you.
Okay, so this is the second time he's been shot.
Shot him in the dick.
He shot him in the dick?
Yeah.
What?
Ouch.
Okay. How is he doing?
Well,
How would you like to be shot in the dick?
How small is your gun?
I need that like I need another hole in my dick.
I don't have one of those.
You don't have a hole in your dick?
No, it's on the side.
It whistles when it...
I'm a real Val Kilmer.
Yeah, you thought those were the birds chirping.
So Stilts' account of the event was one of self-defense. He testified that Switzer had banged on his door, yelling, "Let me in or I'll kick the door in."
To be fair, that is his home.
Yeah.
And his family's there. That checks out.
Got to protect your family.
Absolutely. Stilts is not in the wrong here.
No. The threat was followed by a struggle that began with one of the men, either Switzer or Piot, he doesn't remember, striking him in the face with the clock. This prompted him to retrieve his firearm. And according to Stilts, Switzer threatened him with a knife and yelled, "I'm going to kill you." And Stilts says he fired the shot into Switzer's groin, which damaged an artery that caused massive internal bleeding.
And did it damage anything else?
His life.
Yeah.
Switzer was pronounced dead on arrival at 7:27 p.m. at the hospital at the age of 31.
Yeah, there's a massive artery that goes in that part of the body.
Yep.
Wow.
Jeez.
Shot in the cock and died.
Yeah,
That's
he
on
got
his
clocked, he got cocked.
He got cocked, clocked, and put in a grave.
Yeah.
Put that on your tombstone. Shot in the cock and died.
Usually, cum shot means something else in Hollywood.
Yes, indeed. A gunshot is worse than a cum shot.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Although he was asking for it.
Was he?
In a
Scenario.
sense. I
What do
mean,
you mean you show up somewhere with
in a
guns?
sense.
There's a differing account from a witness.
Okay, let's hear the other side.
So Stilts' own stepson, Tom Corrigan, the 14-year-old that almost got his head blasted off.
A traumatic event. He must remember it too because it was so scary.
Yes, he has an account that differs significantly from that of his stepfather's.
Okay.
He told investigators that Stilts shot Switzer as him and Piot were leaving. After the gun's accidental discharge that almost hit him, Switzer turned to Piot and said they needed to leave. So he was so freaked out by that Alfalfa was like, "We need to get the hell out of here." That was so scary.
Got you.
The two were headed for the door when Stilts then fired the fatal shot. He said that Switzer never drew a knife, as his stepfather Stilts claimed he had.
Okay. This is just the definition of fucking around and finding out, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
Corrigan
All
was,
because of a dog.
yeah. Corrigan was never called to testify at the coroner's inquest, and Stilts testified in his own behalf. So he's like, I'm the best.
Right.
His testimony was taken to be truthful, despite the physical evidence that contradicted his account, because it did appear that he was shot from behind, and it did hit him through the back of the leg.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. The shooting was judged to be self-defense. And
Did it take place in his house still? The shooting?
right in the doorway.
Yeah, so, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so during the inquest regarding the death, it was revealed that he actually did have a penknife that was found underneath him.
Okay.
So a tiny little...
I mean, they still went to this guy's house. They hit him in the face with the clock. I mean, things are going to happen.
Yeah. 42 years later, in January 2001, Tom Corrigan had told reporters it was more like murder.
Oh.
It was more like murder.
So he didn't like his stepdad.
I guess not. It doesn't sound like they got along very well.
Yeah, he really snitched him out, didn't he?
I mean, that's putting it lightly.
He very well could have been shot and killed by this bullet.
Yeah.
So,
And I know, and yet he's defending the guys that came over.
Yeah.
well, maybe he's a big fan.
He said...
That's true.
He said he heard a knock on the front door, and he was there in the living room, and he heard Carl Switzer say, "Western Union for Bud Stilts." And that's why his mother opened the door. And there were two drunk guys complaining about the month-old debt and demanding repayment.
Hey, honey, Alfalfa's at the door. He says he's got a package for you. It's all so stupid.
Yeah.
Western Union.
Flower delivery.
Yes.
He said that Stilts claimed he was going to beat up his stepdad, but that Stilts confronted Switzer with a .38 caliber revolver already in his hand. And that's when Piot broke a glass clock over his head,
Okay.
causing his eye to swell shut.
Man, I feel bad for that clock. I don't think I've ever seen a glass clock since.
No,
Did it shatter?
I guess it did.
Yes. Well, that's why his eye was all fucked up.
Yeah.
Just asking.
Oh, yeah. So Corrigan said he stepped out the front door when he heard but did not witness the second shot behind him. He said he turned and saw Switzer sliding down the wall with a surprised look on his face, like, "You shot me."
Oh, my God.
But what did he expect?
I mean,
if he was leaving, I think he wanted it to all just be done.
yeah.
All of this for $50 ain't worth it.
No.
Piot was being held up against the kitchen counter by Stilts being like, I'll fucking kill you too. And then they heard the emergency siren, so the father got freaked out and let him go.
Okay.
So that's the only reason that Piot didn't get killed as well.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah. But he claims to his dying day that his stepfather lied in his account of the event.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of gray area here.
Yeah.
Black and white indeed. It is not.
No.
Much like the early version of
Yeah.
You got it.
He was never
or the newspaper that Roach served.
Very good
the
point.
Twain.
Very good point.
He was never charged or arrested or anything, and Stilts died in 1983 at the age of 62. So he got away with it.
All right.
If it was a murder.
But he died young.
Yeah.
62-ish.
Yeah.
I guess in those days that was more like 102.
Carl Switzer was interred at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, where a lot of our, artists are.
Yeah.
On January 27th, 1959. But this is also an episode that we covered last year. Farrah Fawcett died, and right after that, Michael Jackson died.
Right.
And so she got
Same day.
buried before. Yeah, same day. Just hours later. So her news got buried
Right.
before she got buried. This is exactly what happened to him. Right after he died, Cecil B. DeMille died.
Well, you're going to lose it. I mean, it is what it is. There's an award for this Cecil guy.
There is.
There's no Alfalfa prize.
No, they don't even know he's dead yet.
Oh.
It's all Cecil.
They don't say I'm ready for my close-up, Alfalfa.
Yeah, they don't. Switzer had appeared as a slave, uncredited, in one of the last films for which DeMille was credited as a producer, The Ten Commandments.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So R.I.P. to Carl Switzer.
Yeah, not a great way to go.
Yeah, but remember his brother Harold that sang with him in the cafeteria that also got signed?
Yeah.
Sure.
While he never got the same amount of fame, he was pretty much like an extra in the Little Rascals. But he was hired to appear in some of the films. Well, 8 years after the death of his brother, he was operating an appliance sales and repair company. So he would sell you a washer and dryer and do the maintenance on it if they needed anything.
Yeah.
He ends up getting into this major argument over a payment dispute with a customer, and in a blind rage, he killed his customer.
What?
Well, there you go.
And it was $50.
Yeah, it could have been. He was so freaked out after he kills this dude.
I would hope so.
He drives to a remote area in Glendale, California, and kills himself in his own car.
Yikes.
That is, he couldn't have been happy at his job.
Yeah. He left behind a wife and 5 kids at 42 years old.
And a bunch of appliances.
Yeah. So I'll just run through pretty quickly the lesser known rascals that also died crazy deaths.
Okay.
Wow.
Scotty Beckett. Scotty couldn't get any work after the Rascals and pretty much took it out on everyone. He would get into bar fights and brawls all the time. He had a criminal record for fighting and several drinking and drug-related offenses. In early 1957, he was arrested for possession of 250 tablets of speed.
Oh, yeah.
Living life in the fast lane.
Yeah, it was.
4 days after the arrest, he smashes his car into a tree with permanently crippling effects. He was unable to work in films any longer.
Yeah, dang.
This was too much for his wife, who divorced him that year. And right after that, he was arrested again for drunk driving.
Okay. Well, good for him.
Sounds like a menace.
Sounds like a depressed former child actor.
Yeah.
Right after that,
A rarity.
yeah. Beckett marries a woman named Margaret. The following year, in the depths of his drinking, he attempts to kill himself.
Oh.
In 1968, he got into a bad fight and was savagely beaten by people, like destroyed. He checked himself into a medical facility and had only been there 2 days when he actually did take his own life with an OD of barbiturates.
Damn.
At 38 years old.
What about barbiturates?
Yeah. They're a real bitch.
Yes, indeed.
Mickey Daniels, long estranged from his wife and children, he died alone in a San Diego hotel room in 1970. Cause of death, the cirrhosis of the liver. And years had passed before his remains were claimed and identified by his family. So they didn't even know where he was.
Wow.
He was,
Like Bobby Driscoll.
yeah.
Were they? I wonder if they started drinking real young.
Yeah, I think
on the
they
set
did.
of the Little Rascals.
Yes. Daniels was 55 when he died, and he is currently buried in an unmarked grave.
Yeah, do we know if the kids were all into drugs and alcohol?
They did
on
get
set?
into it early, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was some drinking and stuff.
So there was more than one Roach on that set.
As that got older, because they started realizing, oh my God, we're aging out of this, and a lot of kids were getting replaced. And so when they started seeing that turnover, they were like, they could see it coming.
Right.
They're like, we got the new Darla and Petey coming in today.
Yeah.
Yeah, just swilling back whiskey at an 11 years old, a haggard 64-year-old longshoreman.
Yeah. Speaking of Darla, Darla contracted hepatitis. That was her real name.
What?
She had a burst appendix and needed to get an emergency appendectomy, contracts hepatitis while getting blood for it, and dies at the age of 47.
Oh, my God.
1 year later after that, William Buckwheat Thomas, a neighbor who hadn't seen him in several days, entered his home and found him dead in bed.
Oh, how'd Buckwheat die?
Heart attack.
That's the best one yet. That's the...
In his sleep, yeah, you'd hope he's asleep.
How old was he?
49.
Oh, so that's young still.
Yeah. A weird thing of note that there was a major reporting error 10 years after his death. This is so goddamn funny. There's this wacko who worked as a grocery store bagger in Arizona, said he was the guy who played Buckwheat. On ABC's 2020, they did an entire story on this guy, Bill English, who just completely lied.
Oh, my God.
And they put it on air.
Good for him. Wow. Keep Buckwheat alive.
Yeah. So the LA Times says 2020 producer resigns over Buckwheat interview. He takes responsibility for the bogus story. William Thomas, who portrayed the R Gang character, died 10 years ago in 1980.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So they said...
What are they supposed to vet people that come on their shows?
Yeah, something like that.
The guy had the best excuse. He said that the reason he changed his name and didn't sign any autographs was because he didn't want it to interfere with the store's operations.
The supermarket?
Yes.
All right. You don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, so let's see this clip here.
If I came out as Buckwheat, the deli would be slammed.
Yeah.
So this is the original piece from 2020, and then at the end of the clip is a current affair talking to Spanky, actually,
Perfect.
who outed the fake Buckwheat.
Yes.
We found him at Smitty's Supermarket, where he's the most popular bagger for miles around.
Hello there, how y'all doing? One for me, huh?
He won't sign autographs because he says if he did, he'd never get any work done. All he needs is to feel useful.
You serve your public in some way. I don't know how you put it, but you just don't sit down and think about yourself.
Good guy.
Nice man.
Good guy.
ABC realized they had been hoaxed after Spanky himself called 2020 and told them Buckwheat, Billy Thomas, had been dead for 10 years.
Oh, my God.
With us now is George McFarland, who played Spanky, and also joining us, Mr. Bill English. Who
Oh, he was there. Got him.
George, what was your reaction when you saw Bill English say he was Buckwheat on television?
Well, my first reaction was, what?
Mr. English, why did you do this? Come forward and say that you're Buckwheat.
What do you mean, what did I do there? I know I'm Buckwheat.
Oh, God.
I love it. My first reaction was, what? What? Oh, my God. He sounds like old Spanky.
Oh, my
So Spanky lived.
Yeah, he didn't
Okay.
live too much longer after that, though.
Yeah.
But it wasn't miserable the way he died.
No.
So Spanky had a pretty good final couple of years.
He did.
All right. It's good.
And I love how that was a big time for Barbara Walters. She was getting to the bottom of the gerbil story.
Yeah.
And getting to the bottom of Buckwheat.
Right.
So funny.
So Buckwheat wasn't the only black kid that was on it. There was also Stymie. He was the one that had the derby hat, the circular hat.
Of course.
He ended up being a high school dropout, and he fought a heroin addiction for more than 20 years. Was frequently in and out of prison because he was trying to commit crimes to pay for the drugs. It's an awful cycle.
Yes, indeed. Rascally rascal.
And he beat the habit in the 1970s, but passed away in 1981 from pneumonia following a stroke where he fell down and smashed his head and never regained consciousness.
For 81, that's very old for a rascal.
That was 1981. He was 56.
Oh.
Still old for a rascal.
Yeah.
There was also...
That was the year I was born.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Stymie.
Here, the reincarnation of Stymie.
I'm him.
2020 should go get you.
I know.
Robert Bone Dust Young fell asleep while smoking in bed in 1951.
And then he turned to bone dust.
He died in the ensuing fire at age 33.
That's dude. That is like. So
What do you think I was going to say? The fire put itself out?
I'm sorry.
Have you been here for the last hour?
Oh no,
Dude, people used to just die smoking all the time.
All the time.
My friend's mom used to smoke on the couch constantly, and he used to save her life all the time.
Jesus.
Yeah, how many kids' houses did you go to back in the day that had cigarette burns all over the couches?
Oh, that was my
carpet?
house. Yeah.
Oh, that was your house?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
That was your bed.
Yeah. My parents fucking smoked like 4 packs a day. It was insane.
Different time.
2004. Yeah.
I mean, it was a different time. 9/11.
Yeah.
People were stressed out.
Stressful,
The war going on.
J. Pinky Smith, he was stabbed to death in 2002 by a homeless man he'd befriended who was living behind his house.
Oh.
2002, so this is much later.
He was 87 years old. The guy stole his car, dumped his body in the desert outside of Las Vegas like he was a friggin' mob hit.
Oh
What
my
the
God.
fuck? Like 87, so this guy is in his 80s.
Yes.
Not the year 87, it's 2002.
Yes.
So he survives all that time. He's like, man, I'm the oldest living rascal. Then he gets fucking stabbed.
He felt bad for the homeless guy that was living behind his house, and he was like, hey, man, come live with me, get your life together.
Yeah, it was
and
trying to be nice.
The guy went crazy and killed him.
Yeah, we cover some stories like that on OK Bud too. You can't. The elderly are oftentimes victimized.
Yeah. This person was victimized. Dorothy Dandridge. She committed suicide in 1965 after losing all of her money in a phony investment scheme.
Oh, no.
Dorothy Dandridge?
Dorothy Dandridge. She was 41.
What did she have to do with the Rascals?
She was one of the lesser-known rascals.
But, there's the Dorothy Dandridge where Halle Berry played her in a movie. The singer and actress. She's a legend.
Dorothy Dandridge.
I didn't know that she may have been involved with the Little Rascals or appeared in it.
Oh.
Wow. There's a whole movie about her with Halle Berry. We'll have to watch that.
Yeah, we'll have to find out if that was the same one. But that's the one I got here.
Or maybe it's like the buckwheat thing where there's a fake one out there too.
Could be. Then we have Kendall Breezy Brisbane McComas. He committed suicide in 1981, 2 weeks before being forced into retirement as an electrical engineer.
Welcome back, Breezy.
He was 64.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And then
he didn't want to retire.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he did want to retire in a sense.
He was going to feel useless.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Darwood Waldo K. Waldo was the rich kid with the glasses who...
Right.
The kid in the movie, Donald Trump is his dad.
Yes, yes.
He competed with Spanky and Alfalfa for Dollar's affection.
Right.
In 2002, he was struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver while walking on the sidewalk, coming home from church. Because he became a Seventh-day Adventist pastor. And, some guy just fucking drove up on the sidewalk and got away with it. They never found him.
All right.
He was 72.
Did they find some ancient artifact on the set of our gang
They
that
must have.
everybody rubbed?
Serious.
The piss lamps.
Yeah.
This is insane.
It's the revenge of the piss lights.
Yeah. And this is a big fact. None, not one. There was 176 kids that played the Little Rascals over the entire 22-year run. Not one of them ever received a residual or a royalty from reruns or licensed products with their likenesses.
Wow, that's horrible.
There was even one kid who, and Hal Roach, this is why, not everybody's totally good. He would get money from like Paramount Studios or MGM for like $25,000 per kid, and then he would give them $50 a week.
Oh my!
So it's like, why are you paying the producer who's paying them?
So he wasn't a good guy.
Yeah, it's,
I bet he died happy and rich.
I will leave everybody with this. Hal Roach, who outlived many of his child stars and died in 1992 at the age of 100. And he also got an Academy Award at 92.
Ooh, mama.
Yeah.
For what?
It was like an honorary one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He never believed the kids were cursed. He said, quote, naturally, some got into trouble or had bad luck.
He's like, that's how people die.
They're the ones who made the headlines. But if you took 176 other kids and followed them through their lives, I believe you would find the same percentage of them having trouble later in life. Let us take that to
Final thoughts.
Hollywood chews you up, spits you out. You can't base your self-worth on that industry. And it's unfortunate because in this time frame, as Alejandro alluded to, you can have a career forever now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're a child star, you can do the cons, you can have your own Insta page and all that stuff. There was no avenue for them.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was pretty devastating. And again, to see yourself on TV constantly and be dead broke must be a mind fuck.
That's what it is. I think a lot of these troubles would have been avoided had they been afforded the luxury of getting some royalties on the dolls that look exactly like them, and the lunch boxes,
the
like
DVDs, the VHSs, everything.
That's $1 billion franchise that they could have easily paid out on.
And the Comic Cons now, you know,
that too,
the cameos of it all.
Yeah,
they would have been very popular.
Absolutely. So it's very sad, and R.I.P. to everybody who was lost by the curse.
And I guess the Alfalfa in the &94 version, this guy named Bug Hall.
Yeah.
He's a religious loon now.
Oh.
And he got kicked off of Twitter a few years ago. And he believes in like corporal punishment for his kids.
Oh,
and
God.
that the wife should just bow down to him. He has a big Duck Dynasty beard. Yeah. That's about the worst curse I could find for the new one.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Besides that, it doesn't seem like any of them really acted again as adults.
No, it doesn't seem that way.
Nope, definitely not.
Well, you know what? Our gang, they were funny.
They were funny, and they all died like gangs. They died like gang members. They were all shot and killed, or died of drug overdoses or alcohol. House fires, smoking. I mean, and the Little Rascals. I mean, they died the way their characters, much like Tony Soprano and James Gandolfini died just like him. They died as if their characters were real.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but if you took the sound out of all their deaths and added sound effects and made it black and white and sped it up a little, it'd be kind of funny.
It's funny.
The clock.
Yeah, exactly. the glass clock. What time is it?
And then you got the fake buckwheat. I mean, this is
that fake buckwheat's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's sort of humorous.
That guy would not back down.
He sounded very like educated as well. The fake buckwheat. He's like, yes, I don't want to interfere with the supermarket. I don't want to let anyone know I'm actually buckwheat.
Yeah,
and also well trained in sticking to the story.
Yeah.
Never deny it.
Borderline sociopathic.
Sure.
Well, you know, but they loved him at that Smitty's grocery store.
And I am just upset that they, back in the day, they used to have grocers who would actually put your groceries in a bag. Now you're going to do it yourself.
And these days, you go to Ralph's, the self-checkout, they don't even want to give you a bag.
Yeah, they don't even say, "Oh, Tay." Nothing.
Very good.
Yes.
R.I.P. Little Rascals.
Everybody.
You've got mail.
Yay.
Great.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's not being delivered by Hal Roach.
No.
Or Froggy.
No.
Thank God. Poor Froggy.
Oh,
yeah, that's pretty,
yeah.
You know.
He died doing what he had to, not what he loved.
Yes. On our latest episode, Hollywood Urban Legends Volume 3, Doug Runkle.
Oh, Runkle.
Oh, good old Runkle. He said, another great show. Found you guys because of Ben. Now I'm working my way through your whole library. You guys rock.
Rock and roll.
We also have been corrected numerous times. The Heaven's Gate comet was Hale Bop, not Haley's Comet, like we said on the show.
Whatever.
It's the same shit.
Figure it the fuck out.
Mark Twain was born and died during Haley's Comet.
Yes.
And we thought it was the same one where the
whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Gives a shit. Might as well be.
It's a comet.
Yes.
The Haley Joel Osment comet.
Oh, it's a very anti-Semitic.
Well, he was drunk.
Wait, who?
Haley Joel Osment.
He's anti-Semitic?
He got arrested
one's anti-Semitic.
Okay, I don't know the latest stuff. You guys, you can't just bring that up.
Fill you in.
Yeah.
I'll fill you in.
Oh, him says, fucking great episode. Love you guys. Y'all get me through my day.
Nice.
And Where's the Bear said, nice change of pace, guys. There used to be a website called paulisdead.com. It went into things like difference in height, facial structure, eyes, and earlobes not being the same, etc. Even compared voice patterns. All of it would make you a believer in the fact that Paul McCartney was replaced.
All right. Sure. Why not?
All right, we're going to check that out then because I'm 50-50.
It's got to be on the Wayback Machine. We can see some of those stuff.
Figure it out.
Remember that song Paul McCartney did, speaking of 9/11? The Freedom.
Probably.
Oh, I do remember that.
That's not Paul McCartney.
I hope
Billy
not.
Shears,
I
okay?
hope not. I hope
So
not.
he was in the Towers?
Yeah.
Well,
They replaced the replacement?
I see what you're saying.
Double replaced.
Because that's
Man.
even worse than the other solo music
Oh,
from
boy.
the 80s.
Yeah.
Wow. So they keep having to replace the The Replacement.
Jeez.
All I know is Vietnam gave us really great music.
Yes.
Sure.
And that was the only good thing about that war.
Those were the days.
Yeah, and Oliver Stone movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Again, check out OK Bud as well. And patreon.com/diebud.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all so much for your support. I hope you enjoyed the episode, made you laugh and think a little bit. Hail yourself.
And until next week.
Don't go dying on us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You have just heard
a true Hollywood murder mystery.
I have never seen anything like this before.
The movies, Broadway, music, television, all of it.
A place that manufactures nightmares.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
Good night. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon.